Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Rosie here. I have been playing Identity 5. Just been binging it the past few days. And oh my god, bro. The game is so much fucking better than Dead by Daylight. Like, holy fucking shit. It is amazing how much of an improvement it actually is. From the menu system, to the MMR, to the matchmaking, to the gameplay, just everything. It's such a massive fucking improvement. Okay. However, I think one topic that I've been interested in as I've played and I've watched some Call of the Abyss, and the commentators were bringing up the Cipher Rush. I want to talk about why the Gen Rush is extremely unhealthy for Dead by Daylight, but the Cipher Rush in this game is balanced and okay. Okay? So, let's discuss it. Okay, so if you want to talk about top-level Dead by Daylight, okay, top-level Dead by Daylight looks a lot like Call of the Abyss 2, for all you Identity 5 geeks out there. Call of the Abyss 2 was an extremely survivor-sided tournament that was, like, very bad. Like for real. For why is the Cipher Rush balanced? At what point it wasn't. At one point, it was not a balanced concept. At one point, the killers legit couldn't really do anything about it, because a lot of the killers were overall weaker, and it was... The Cipher Rush used to be not very balanced, okay? So that's like... But in Dead by Daylight, if you have 4 competent survivors, okay, the game is just unwinnable. It's just unwinnable. The maps are too unbalanced, the gen speeds are too unbalanced, the plethora of second chance perks like DS and Unbreakable, there's just no way that you're going to ever see a balanced match at high level. It's just not going to happen, boys. And especially the tournaments verifying that and backing it up. In fact, a lot of the Dead by Daylight killers in their tournaments, they look like the Identity 5 characters where they just camp the hook. So, that kind of negates the point I had in a video a long time ago about why Dead by Daylight killers are more active. But my major point I want to bring up here is that the Gen Rush isn't healthy because it has no counter and no stop. And you cannot realistically hope to get 2 survivors, which, as you know, is how you balance the game. You should be striving for a 2-kill average and a 2-escape average every single game. So, when you look at the Identity 5's Cipher Rush, you can tell that they've done this if you've watched top-level tournaments. Even though all the Ciphers are getting popped, the killers are killing 2 survivors consistently. So a lot of the times more. It is not impossible to get 2 survivors, even with the Cipher Rush. It's just not. Even though the Ciphers are flying, you can get 2 of them. It's a balanced meta. Is the game completely balanced? No. Is the game survivor-sided? Yes. Yes, it is. However, at top level, killers can win. And they can win consistently. A lot of the top killers in the Identity 5 scene have a 70% win rate. And that's how you know you're playing with a balanced game. Because their win rates are around 70%. So any like not top level, what that means is any not top level squad is losing to the killer. And that of course that win rate doesn't also include ties. So how many of those are ties, and then how much of the kill are those actually losing? You know what I'm talking about. Stat stuff. In this meta, it's even though the Ciphers do fly really fast, the survivors get killed really fast. Survivors are a lot weaker off the chair. Borrowed time basically doesn't exist. It's called Tide Turner in this, but even if you hit the survivor, they still eventually go down. Like, they don't, and there's no decisive strike. Tunneling and camping are the meta, which is what basically high-level Dead by Daylight looks like right now anyway, so don't even tell me, like, that's an excuse. The reason that this works is because killers were buffed. For real. If you take any Identity 5 character, and I'm talking about the bad ones too, and put them in Dead by Daylight, Scott Junn makes a video about them and calls them awful for the game. For real. You take any one of these characters, even the bad ones, even Hell Ember, bruh. Hell, fucking Gamekeeper's basically the Death Slinger, and we all know what's going on with him in Survivors right now. If you put any fucking character from this game in Dead by Daylight, Scott Jund calls them a bitch and that they shouldn't be in the game. That's what happens, bro. But these types of killers are the ones that can deal with a rush of the ciphers. Like, for real. These killers can deal with it. And by the way, a cipher for an Identity 5 takes 75 seconds as opposed to DBD's 80 seconds. Ciphers fly faster in this game than they do in the fucking Dead by Daylight. Ciphers fly faster than gens do in some situations. And then you got the mechanic who's a fucking decoding fucking fiend. Ciphers fly faster. But these killers are stronger so they can deal with it. And then you have Noed, which is the game's meta. Like, seriously, in this game, Noed, its counterpart, Detention, is meta, and everybody is okay with it. And you don't hear bitching constantly about when are they nerfing Detention. You never hear that. Because the game is balanced around these concepts. And then the system is another reason it's more enjoyable. Whereas, and this is just subjective kind of stuff, the objective reason it's not as bad is because the game is balanced around it. The subjective reason it's not as bad is the game doesn't have realistic expectations for you. And that's because the MMR system works, and the matchmaking, and about what is a win and what is a loss. The game is very clear about what the win condition is. Whereas Dead by Daylight goes, oh, I'm Scott Jund, what's the win condition for Dead by Daylight, bro? Even though it's incredibly obvious what the win condition is. Identity 5 uses the best possible MMR system of kills and escapes. This game is the ultimate slap in the face to anyone that doesn't think it works. It really, really is, bro. This game is so good, and I cannot give you enough reasons that it's good. It's really amazing, bro. And I can't recommend it enough, dude. The game is balanced. The game is significantly more balanced, and you feel more powerful when you're playing killer. You really do. Especially when you're playing a killer like Bonbon, who can control the tiles. Like, some killers in the game, they do have problems with some of the tiles, like a lot of the beginner killers, but have a little bit of trouble with the tiles, but that's because they're like the beginner killers. And you're never going to see them played at high level anyway. And realistically, you're not going to see Hell Ember get any buffs because he's the beginner, he's the baby killer. You're not going to see him ever get buffed because it would just make things a little too hard for the newer players. But, you know, that's okay. The game is good. That's what we're saying here, lads. The game is very good. The killers are more powerful. The game system telling you what a win and loss is and not having unrealistic expectations for you. Like, if you get 2, you don't D-rank. And maybe you do at some of the higher ranks. I'm still at rank 2 of 6. Maybe you do at some of the game's higher ranks, but the game calls it a tie and doesn't punish you for losing, for like getting a tie. The game calls it a tie, because that's what it was. It was a tie. Dead by Daylight would D-rank you and make you feel like shit. This game doesn't do that. It's subjectively not as bad, because even if you tie a game, the game isn't going to say you played bad if you tie. And that's another, amazing part of it, dude. It really is. Dead by Daylight insults your intelligence by telling you that what you should... Dead by Daylight insults your intelligence by fucking saying that what you needed to do was actually possible. And it's just not. In this game, it is possible. So that's why it's okay. That's why I don't feel as bad if I lose this game, whereas Dead by Daylight, I'm fucking infuriated when I lose a game. Because in this game... It's like, oh, I got outplayed. That's why I got outplayed, and that's why they got more than 2 out. And Dead by Daylight, it's like they exploited core balance issues that shouldn't exist to beat me. I don't feel like any loss I have in Dead by Daylight is legitimate. Whereas in this game, I had a legitimate loss. Whatever. And then the survivors they usually go, good job, dude, and then they give you a like. Like, it's a much less toxic environment in this game, and I think that's what's really good about it. I'm not saying this game doesn't have its toxic players, I'm sure it does. But overall, it's just much better, bro. You know how many times I queue up as killer and people go, dude, thanks for playing killer. It's so much better, bro. Alright, I'm getting the hell out of here. That's just something to ponder and think about. So if you ever hear people talk about Cipher rushing in Identity 5, the concept in Identity 5 is significantly more balanced. and it's subjectively easier to deal with because the game doesn't insult you if you can't deal with it. Okay, I think that's all we gotta say, boys. GG's.